Thank you. Thanks, Anita. Wow. What an incredible intro. Thank you so much. As the closing keynote speaker, my job is to help you implement everything that you learned today. No pressure on me. So that you can, when you go back to your workplaces, either tomorrow or next week or whenever, you can actually pick and choose the ideas that you learned today and implement them. So have you guys learnt anything at all? Has today been useful at all? Yep, all right, a couple of ideas. Okay, so I was trying to figure out, I've been sitting in the back all day learning with you, like some sort of distant creep up the back, right? And so I heard a lot of stuff that you've heard, and now my challenge is to give you an idea that you can use to organize all that information. So one of the ideas I have for you is this thing called one big question. And everyone in their lifetime at some point has had one big question they're trying to answer. They might just not know about it yet. So I want to share a story with you that you're not going to get anywhere else. To give you an example of how this relates to my world. And it's a story about my dad. Some of you have met him, I think. Yeah, I think so, my parents, yeah. My background's Sri Lankan, so my parents were like, traditional Sri Lankan parents, study hard, don't come home if you don't get an A, that sort of stuff, right? So my dad was very strict. To compound matters worse, he was an army officer in the Sri Lankan army when the British ruled Sri Lanka. So my childhood was boot camp, right? It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And I remember we always used to fight because Dad thinks very differently to me, We always used to fight. And one time, I found myself back home after university visiting my folks, and I was in my room and I got locked in my room. But I have no lock on the door in my room. I was just, the door wouldn't open, it got stuck. And so I'm jiggling it around, trying to get it open, and I bust the handle. And my dad comes running along and he says, "My God, what have you done? You've broken the door. Now, useless fellow." And then, he said to me, "Now I'm going to have to call your cousin to fix it." And he goes, but I said, "Dad, you don't need to call my cousin. I can fix this." You know what my dad said to me? He goes, You studied IT. How can you fix something like this?" Scientist thinking, right? So I've learned over the years not to argue with my dad, right? So I was thinking, instead of arguing with him, if I just accept his world, maybe I can influence around him and get him to do what I want. So he's just, in his wisdom, he says, "I'm not qualified to fix this door." So I say to him, "Okay, that's fine, I'm not qualified to fix it. You don't need to call Shantaya. Like, how about I teach you how to fix it and you can fix the door?" "Oh, okay, that makes sense." So we go off to Bunnings, we buy a door handle, right? I teach him how to fix it, and he fixes the damn door, right? To me, that is illogical. But I still influenced him to change based on his silo way of thinking. So my challenge to you right now is what rules, what regulations, what policies, procedures are limiting your thinking? So what I want to do now is walk you through a framework of mine called Heart-Centered Innovation that'll help you reduce the friction in your organization. And again, I know we've learnt a lot of frameworks today, a lot of models. This is just something you can use in your toolkit. Pull it out when you see if it's necessary or not. Otherwise, keep it in there for a rainy day, right? Let me share with you the concept. The reason why this is so important is because innovation, right? Remember, people either get it, use it, love it, great, or they hate it, right? Those that innovate talk about external innovation. How do we commercialize ideas and make money out of it, right? What I'm talking about is internal innovation that all of you would find really valuable if this framework resonates, right? And internal innovation is about activating human potential to create change within your organizations, within your teams, So it's really important. No one's talking about internal innovation, or they haven't looked at it in this way. So let's go for a bit of a walk and see where it takes us. So this is called heart-centered innovation, and the way you use the model is you pop your one big question into the middle, right? And then you work through the framework. So whatever your one big question is, stick that in the middle, and then walk through the individual pieces. So the first bit is the care piece, because if people don't care, nothing happens anywhere. But given the information I've just shared with you right now, I think the question needs to change. And I think a more effective question would be this. How can we create better human experiences? How can we create better human experiences so that everyone in the organization thrives? Everyone. In your teams, in your stakeholders, everyone. And the way we do this is playing with a concept of efficiency versus effectiveness. Efficiency, policies, procedures, rules and regulations, versus effectiveness, okay? And we're going to illustrate that with this gentleman here. That's a photo of me pre-COVID. No, no, we all changed during COVID. No, does anyone know who that is? 2 people? 3 people? Okay, his name's Van Morrison. This is not going to go as well as I thought. Okay, so here's the brown-eyed girl challenge, and it's something that I'm going to need a little music to illustrate. So the thing about this song called Brown Eyed Girl, it was written, what's written down on paper is 4 chords. It's a very simple song. So 1, 2, back to the 1, 3. This is why a speaker can't count. 3, and then there's a 4 one here. Okay, so this is what's written down on paper, 4 chords, right? And it goes like this. Sorry, wrong chord. Hey, where'd we go? Days when the rains came. Down in the hollow, playing a new game. Laughing and a running, hey, hey. Skipping and a jumping. In the misty morning fog with our hearts a-thumping and you, my brown-eyed girl, you, my brown-eyed girl. That's how it's written. 4 chords. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for tolerating my craziness. That's how it's written. And for years I played it like that. You know, for years I played it like that. Then one night I was out on Mitchell Street. We won't talk about that. But one night I was out on Mitchell Street and I ran into a musician. His name's Will. I don't know if it's still around, but Will plays it slightly differently. Will's version has 6 chords. Yeah, 6 chords, right? And Will plays it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And his version sounds like this. Hey, where'd we go? Days when the rains came. Down in the hollow, playing a new game. Laughing and a running, hey, hey. Skipping and a jumping. In the misty morning fog with our hearts a-thumping and you, my brown-eyed girl, you, my brown-eyed girl. Which version do you think sounds better? Second one, right? And there's a reason for that. It's structured in such a way to provide a better experience, but it's not as efficient. In other words, Will took a look at what's written down and he goes, okay, I get the idea of what this is, but I'm going to play it differently. I'm going to interpret it differently. So what I'd love to see from all of you is at some point, you're going to go back to your organizations with your teams and you're going to look at your policies, procedures, your rules and regulations, the stuff that's written down. And please, I encourage you to reimagine that and to create better human experiences. And I think it would unlock so much potential within your organizations. And that, my friends, is the Brown Eyed Girl Challenge. Thank you. That, my friends, is Robert's story, and I share that with you because at some point in our lives, we've all been like Robert. Or we know people just like Robert. In fact, if I were to visit any of your organizations, there'll be Roberts in there who want to do stuff differently. And it's all of you today, as the guardians of talent, that can make that happen. That's powerful. It has been such an honor and a privilege to serve you all today. And I hope that something I've shared with you really resonated, so you will go out and make tomorrow better than today. Thank you so much.